27 of them, not 14. You know, like the Ottawa paper says 14, but there's 27 of them. And they were dug in 1964 by who was an elderly gentleman who's no longer living, by my best friend. He is not the one that left these big pits in here. Somebody came by later who was a pot hunter and dug those in there. When Roger Williams, who dug these mounds, he was from Batavia, when he dug these mounds back then, what he was an amateur archaeologist. Back in 1964 is when he dug those. And he dug them because he wanted to know who these people were. And because of what he did, we have a really interesting story about these people. Because all these mounds right here, all these people here, they all came from Kentucky. And how we know that? Because of the cache blade. And when he was digging the mounds, he found a broken pendant in that mound, and it was drilled only from one side. So we know that that was an Adena. So these are the Adena people. And why Roger, what he wanted to know about who these people were and all that. So him and a Catholic priest, and he had 3 other guys who spent the entire summer digging all these mounds. And I have the journal. It's a 1965 journal, but he dug them in 1964, Central States Archaeological Journal. And he reported on how all these people were facing east. All of them but 2. So all these burials were facing east but 2. Does anybody have a guess why they were facing east?
Sunrise? Right.
No. That's because that's where the people came from. Now the 2 who were facing west, you know why they were facing west?
Came from the west.
That's correct, because they came from the west. So what is interesting about these mounds, we have the first proof. You know these mounds are woodland mounds, which dates around 1,500 years old. And these people, they came from Kentucky. Those were the Adena people, and how we can trace them? By the pendants and by the cache blades. Wherever they went in Kentucky, I have some. You know, there was a cache found over by Louisville, Kentucky. There was a cache found. You take the Ohio River up to the Wabash River. The cache I've got in my backpack here, I will show you guys, came on the Wabash River, and they headed up the Wabash River all the way to the Kankakee River. And on the upper Kankakee River, they found another cache of turkey tails and more woodland mounds. And you go down by Wilmington, where you get close to the Illinois River, there was another cache of turkey tails and some more woodland mounds over there. So then they came down, and from the Kankakee River to the Illinois River, all the way down the Illinois River, and up the Fox River here. And they found a cache of turkey tails when they were doing I-80 over here. So we know that these people who are facing east all came from the east. We know by the type of shirt they used, which was a gray shirt from Kentucky, Indiana, and that area. Now the 2 that were facing west, these were a different people. These were the Hopewell. Now the Hopewell people, they came from the west, they came from Iowa. They used Burlington shirt. So we can track by their cache blades, which are shaped different. The Adena blades are turkey tail blades, they're shaped like that. Where the Hopewell blades are like short, like this, kind of heart shaped. But the shirt is all, you know, it's all from Iowa out west, out that way, Burlington shirt. Now what's interesting is, here we have the first proof of the intermingling of the Hopewell and the Adena. Now the Adena, they became best friends. At this point, when Roger dug these mounds, he found no pottery in any of the mounds. But the Hopewell, who were from the woodland Indians also, had tons of pottery. And there are some Hopewell mounds. If you go up down 71, where Route 6 goes towards Marseilles, you go about 100 yards, there's a subdivision there. There are Hopewell mounds in that subdivision. And one of my good friends has a Hopewell campsite right in his backyard. So the Hopewell and the Adena were not that far apart. And the interesting part is they became best friends. So it shows you what happens when 2 different people become best friends. And also another way we know the difference is the Adena people had short, rounded chins, where the Hopewell had long, skinny chins. So we can tell by the skeletons what they look like, and they're different. And the people in these mounds were not short people. They were 6'2" tall. So they were big people. But the interesting is how they became best friends, and they ended up, you know, they went all the way back down to where they came from, and they took the Hopewell with them. That's how the Hopewell got into Ohio. And they ended up so far, they actually got as far as Jacksonville, Florida, because they found turkey tails down there. But this is where the 2 was interesting. These 2 people intermingled, and they shared their technology with each other. So after that, the woodland period goes into the Mississippian period. In the Mississippian period, these people became the Fort Ancient people. And there's a Fort Ancient village, the Gentleman Farm site on the Bulls Island area there where the Corps put that big tunnel through there. Those were the Fort Ancient people. This is a different time period, the Mississippian period. And the ones on the Route 6, if you go down Route 6, there were the two ladies. They were school teachers from Marseilles. They owned a farm. They were called Mrs. Fleming's. We call it the Fleming site, named after those people. Those are Fort Ancient people. But in their campsite there, now these people have tons of pottery. When Roger dug some burials there, all the burials had pots in them. Here there was no pottery whatsoever. So here the Hopewell taught these people how to make pottery. There's still a difference in the type of pottery that they make.
How long ago is this?
Well, this here is 1,500 years old. The Mississippian period is 500. So these people became the Mississippian period. And in the Mississippian period, after that they went into the historic people, we can prove that these people are actually Shawnee. And my great-grandmother was Shawnee. So I find it interesting that here I am, and how these mounds got protected. I told, when there were going to be a big subdivision put in here, I knew Mark Bolzinski was the CPO, and I told him about these mounds, and he went in here and he made sure that they weren't going to destroy these mounds. There's been mounds that the sand companies had destroyed all over on the other side of the river. Starved Park, we're lucky, was all preserved because there's mounds all through that area too. There's Hopewell Mounds in Starved Park also. And the interesting thing about these people, when they built mounds, they usually built their village right close to the mound. The reason why they did that, these are their friends and relatives. They're not scared of ghosts and the spirits. They're there to protect them. So they would build their village right close to the mounds. The Fleming site in the Fort Ancient period, they had the burial mounds on the east side, and they had a U-shape. The village was all the way around the sides. Because I dug there and and found some of the pottery and stuff where we dug there years ago. So the mounds are right here. Now, actually, we should be back over this way. But the mounds, you see this big pothole? There's a 100-foot long mound. And we'll take a walk out there, then I'll pull the stuff out of my backpack and show you some of the stuff. Everybody get on this side of the mound instead of walking on them. I'd like you to stay on this side of the mound. But this mound here, it goes back that way for 100 feet. So the first mound is 100 feet long. Let's go back this way now.